Hi to all my friends, subscribers, and Soul Tribe family. This is only going to be a quick one, I think. Just want to share a little bit of knowledge I've gleaned over the years on human interactions and how they work, because it's been coming up quite often in my existence lately. I've had friends in my actual life, not via YouTube or anything else, asking me for advice on these subjects. So I feel it's time that I share it. It's nothing huge or anything like that. It's just how the human interaction works and the thought process we go through in certain situations, as it were, and how you can master it. I was going to script all this kind of stuff and do like a series, Know Thyself. I may still do that, but I'm spending way too much time just figuring out how to script it rather than getting the information knowledge out there. So it's just kind of a quickie intro, really, I guess. I don't know when I'll get around to doing this, but I do want to do some sort of series about Know Thyself, what it means, how to do it, how to achieve it, to better yourself for whatever reason. Excuse me, so I'm doing this totally off the fly. What it all boils down to is I've had a lot of practice at these things, and I can't even remember how I came across, learnt it, or if it's just something I came across myself. What it boils down to is human interaction. So I'll just get straight into it, really. When we communicate, humans, it goes through certain processes I've observed in myself. Best way I can describe it is when you have an interaction with another person, give a scenario, maybe, be a good idea. Choose an extreme one to start off with. Say, for example, or to use myself as an example, say somebody were to hit me. Say somebody was going to hit me. So I'm out on the street, some idiot decides, for whatever reason, they want to start and hit me. It goes through certain processes. Firstly, you have your feelings. Your feelings are the first thing. My hurt, my upset, my angry. Then it goes into, I would say, call it your brain, your survival instinct. Your brain's going to give you a certain list of responses. Say, do I hit them back? Do I cry? Do I run? Etc., etc. Then your mind chooses which one of those responses to act upon. Again, do I cry? Do I run away? Do I hit them back? Do I go crazy and get them? Whatever. Then your brain will act on those responses. Yeah? Goes for all interactions. Now the trick comes in being able to use your mind to make a rational choice that you're presented. Now to do this, you need to stay calm. As soon as your endocrine system releases, there's a part of your body called the endocrine system. Now when your body releases endocrine into your brain, it makes it harder to make rational and good decisions. Obviously, if you've ever experienced anger or an argument, you know at some point you've thought, said or done something that you wish you hadn't. Now the trick comes in watching yourself. So it's almost like you got your two minds. You got the ego, you got your mind. You got the brain, you got your mind, whichever way you want to put it. So the trick is coming in shortening the gap from realizing I shouldn't have said, done that, from being in the moment, the next day, couple of minutes, couple of hours, however long it may take for you to think, oh well, I shouldn't have done that, I wish I'd made a different decision. It's coming to shortening the gap of time to an instant, so that you're the one, your mind is choosing a rational decision. Now to do that, like I say, you need to stay calm, because once you get angry, once you get fearful, frightened, scared, just aggression, anger, once you choose those things, your brain will release the endocrine, and then you're not going to make a rushed or good decision. So yeah, it boils down to know thyself, the old saying. It's the mind over the ego, the brain. You're the one making the choice. I am is the one making the choice. At first, some of this to some people may just sound crazy. At first, it's not going to be easy. It's all about watching your thoughts. So it's like you're staying one level higher than your thoughts, observing yourself constantly. And I've been doing this for 10 years, maybe longer. I've had a lot of practice at it. Got 3 kids, ex-wife. Don't mean anything bad by that at all to any of them. I love them all to bits. It's just lessons that I've had to learn. So I've had a lot of practice at it. I love them all to bits, and I thank them for the opportunity and presenting me the lessons to learn. Because I wouldn't be how I am or who I am in this now if it wasn't for it. And as I say, I obviously needed to learn these lessons, maybe for now to pass them on, because there's somebody out there, some of you, that may need this, especially in the now that we exist in. We need to stay calm. We need to be kind, creative. Now, if anybody knows Alan Watts, who else? I don't really think of Alan Watts now. There's definitely Alan Watts lectures out there where he explains about the ego and it's being sneaky. So you think you're watching yourself, but really your ego's just gone one step higher. So you're not really watching yourself, it's just your ego. So you've got to be mindful of that as well, because it's a bit sneaky. Your brain, your mind, your brain, your ego. It's a survival mechanism. It wants to keep you alive, yeah? As part of this, I guess I could explain, don't know if it's correct or not, but it's the best way I can interpret it, that every cell in your body has got a consciousness of its own. Think of your body like a community. It wants to stay alive. It wants to exist. It wants to keep going. Think of your brain as a central government or a council that acts for all these little consciousnesses. So put it like you're hungry. Sends a signal to your brain to eat because the body wants to stay alive. It wants to keep going. It needs energy. All these kinds of things, yeah? So think of your brain like a central government for the body. Your mind is the one doing the choosing and actually most of the thinking. And then that is what is telling, like the brain was trying to survive, is telling everything else what to do. So you need to comprehend, understand that a lot of what you're doing is your programming to keep you alive. Your mind is the one that is in charge, not your brain that wants to keep you alive in any given situation. So you need to be watching yourself from the mind, observing the brain, the ego of what's going on, and learning to be the one that is in charge of all this. Hope this is making sense to you. It starts from birth, the process. You're programmed. Think of yourself as like similar in fashion to a computer in that respect. Not quite sure if that's the right analogy. Say for example, I mentioned this to a friend recently as they asked me for help on this, so this is the best way I could kind of interpret it for them. Say, for example, you're brought up in India, in the culture that they exist in. I'm only choosing this randomly. Could be anywhere really, China, because they're very respectful and what have you as well. But say you're brought up in an environment where you're taught from birth to be respectful to people, calm, kind. You see your elders, the people in your environment, being kind to each other, helpful, loving, respectful, all these sorts of things. As you grow up, because you're programmed, you're brought up in that environment, you're more likely, that is how you're going to turn out, because in any given situation, your brain, from its previous experiences, its previous programming, is going to go, okay, right then, so this thing has happened, I'm going to have these lists of responses to go by. Yeah? Same in any country. I'm not choosing any particular country or culture. It's just the environment that you're brought up into, that you're programmed from birth. And then say, for example, again, I'm not particularly picking on anywhere, it's just something that I think that most people will understand. Say you're brought up in a rough area of a city, a country. I don't really want to pick on any specific ones. You may have gang culture, drugs, all these sorts of things going on, the gangster sort of lifestyle thing. So from your childhood, you've experienced nothing but aggression, anger, people stealing, all those sorts of things. We all know what goes on in those sorts of areas. Not their fault, nobody's fault. I'm not blaming anybody, no, I'm not putting any culture down, any race down, anything like that. It's just what you're brought up into. So those people will have a different set of responses to go by from their younger programming. Yeah. So they've seen something happen to somebody in their childhood, aggression, all these violence, these sorts of things. That's all they've ever experienced. That's all they're really going to have to go by. So when that happens to them, as you're older, those lists of choices I mentioned earlier are going to be different to somebody that's been programmed from birth in a different way. So when you realise, understand, comprehend what I'm explaining, you can choose that list. You can change that list. You don't have to go by what your brain, your ego, wherever way you want to put it, is presenting to you. So like say you're brought up in a gang culture as a child, your parents, whatever, just the local environment is like that. As you grow up and you come across this, you start watching yourself, you're mindful of yourself. You can then, when the event happens, whatever it may be, it can also be joyous and happy as well. I'm not just putting on the negative, you can choose to be happy. I'll come to that in a minute. So when you get those lists of instruction, those lists of choices, you can then choose which ones to go by. Yeah, you can edit the list as it were. But all this takes time, less than a blink of an eye, less than a thunder, like a lightning flash. Yeah. So it's all about keeping calm, watching yourself. It's going to take a long time for most, if not everybody. It certainly took me a long time. Just the observing. And then when something happens to you, you have a row with your spouse, you have a row with somebody on the street, something good happens to you, you're grieving, stress, all these things, you can edit and change them all. But you have to observe yourself in every given situation to get there. Not everybody, this is why, not why, but this is like where everybody's so distracted in life. You've got to work, you've got all this stuff going on. You haven't got the time to do this normally. It's not easy. Yeah, you've got your family environment going on around you, you're working, you're shopping, you're watching TV, you're watching YouTube, you're doing all these different things. You're distracted. It's not giving you time to observe yourself, amongst other things. Big part of it as well is the comprehension, the understanding that we choose how we feel as also through this mechanism, I guess, in any given situation. So that when something happens, somebody gives you a birthday card, you choose to be happy. your child is, silly one, maybe not silly, but your child is born, you choose to be happy, joyous, all these things that come with it. And then the other side of the extremes, somebody hits you, again, you're choosing to be angry and respond in that fashion. You can choose how you feel, happy, joy, blissful, angry, etc. That basically covers what I'm trying to say right now about knowing yourself and how we make these choices. It all comes with practice and experience. Like I say, some people maybe need more practice and experience in certain areas, so you're going to be given those tests in certain areas. It's not so much how you pass, if you pass the test, it's how you take the test. Yeah? So like I said, feelings, how you're going to respond, choosing the response, acting out the response. Yeah, so that's something happening to you. What am I going to do about it? Choosing how to feel. And it goes back out through the feelings in your response. So the example I like to use is that, say I'm walking down the street, somebody punches me in the face. I'm not going to hit them. I'm not going to remain it. I'm not going to go crazy on them. I'm not going to cry. I'm going to stay perfectly calm, deal with the situation in a rational, well-chosen way. Whereas if I was to just let everything go, I'm not going to make the best decision. Next thing I know, I've just hurt that person if I'm capable. And now maybe I'm going to be looking at prison time or something like that, or whatever can come of it. So my life's going to be affected negatively that way. Whereas I've stayed calm, you're going to have a much better outcome. Same goes for everything. Rousers, everything. But it does take time and practice. So you've got to make the conscious decision to want to do this and practice it and make dedication to yourself if you want to be able to do this, if you want to change your life. So certainly it's changed my life. I've never been an aggressive or an angry person as nature, but when these things happen in your life, I've certainly been, how do I put it? I've certainly been at the beck and call of my animal instincts rather than my higher mind functions. Yeah, I'm sure everybody can relate to that. So I kind of call it like you've got your animal self and your higher self. Or maybe in a occult way you could put it, your Baphomet in your Jesus or Christ, whatever way you want to put it. You've got your devil, whatever way you want to put it, you've got your two. You could put it as negative and positive inside yourself. But you can make a choice which one you go with. Yeah. Don't really want to say too much more because I'll probably just be repeating myself or confusing people. But yeah, that's basically it. I've had a lot of experience of this and I kind of like live it. So, and I do have a lot of time to myself. I'm single now, I live on my own. I have my kids on every other weekend and literally I'm on my own all day, every day if I'm not in work. And for like at least like the last 10 years, I've had ample opportunity to practice and observe myself as well. So it's taking the time out, as it were, in your mind to do these things, to watch yourself all day. Maybe you're not at first, you might not be able to do it all day, every day. You might just be able to do it in the moment. Say something happens, maybe you'll catch yourself, you'll observe yourself doing something, and then later on you'll think, oh, I wish I'd acted like that. But then another time something else will happen and you're like, oh, I just did it, I caught myself, I made the right choice. Well, not the right choice, but I noticed it came through my feelings. I noticed my feelings were hurt, blah, blah, blah. I realised that I could have acted a certain way, but I chose to act a different way. Yeah? You'll start noticing these things as you're going along. You've got to stick at it to be able to achieve it all the time. And even then, like now, I'm not saying I'm a master at this. I'm still learning. I still kick off, very occasionally, but 99.9% of the time, I'm choosing to do it for effect. Yeah. So, like, say, I know it's a silly one, and I hope my kids do see this one day at some point, because I'm going to use them as a parent. Everybody's been a parent. I know some people karma parents and what have you, but at some point or another you may have to raise your voice to your children. Now, do you do that out of anger because you're peed off with them for not listening because you told them the same thing 100 times? Or are you doing it for an effect so they know it's time to listen? Yeah, there's a difference, isn't there? From losing your temper and letting a little bit out just so they know it's time to listen. I think that's been number one for me, but that goes for all walks of life. Any given situation, you're choosing how much to let out. You're in control. You're not letting the animal instinct to do it for you. You're doing it. So, like, say, yeah, probably the best way I think I can say that. So I'm going to probably call it a day here for this subject for now. If you have any questions, please comment down below. If you want to hear any more on this, also let me know. Actually, while I'm doing this, I just would like to ask you all a favour. My YouTube stats don't really seem to make much sense. I gain subscribers, lose subscribers. My subscriber count just seems to stay around the same. Same with my views for my videos. There always seems to be roughly the same amount of views. I may get the odd one that goes here or there, but it seems to me as though YouTube's not sharing or what have you. It's not promoting my videos anywhere or something like that, because apparently I've got 1,887 subscribers at the moment, but I'm getting like just only 40 views and things like this on my videos. Doesn't bother me. I do it for the select people that, you know, I'm hoping I can help, even if it's just one person, or if I'm just entertaining one person with a music video that I'm putting out, these sorts of things. But it just seems to me as though it doesn't seem really right. If I've got this many subscribers, that I'm only getting 40 views per video, surely I should have the random 100, whatever. So if I could ask you all to do me a favour, I don't do this normally, you know that, except for just the little words at the end of the videos, but if you could please comment if you feel moved to, give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed already, if you could subscribe, and also if you could take the time, if you feel there's somewhere that you can share my videos, if you could share them, because I do want to do a lot more, and I also want to start teaching a lot more of things, but it doesn't really seem, I've got a lot of time in my life, but it doesn't really seem worth me dedicating, because the amount of time that I do dedicate to making these videos just for 40 people, I don't want to offend anybody or anything like that, but I spend a lot of time on these videos, and it may not look like it, but the thought process that goes behind it, the actual creating, the amount of editing that I do, even just like on my book readings, it may not think it, but where I'm reading the book, I'm taking out like deep breaths and long pauses, little mistakes I may make along the way, which are very infrequent actually. But there's a lot of editing, there's a lot of time that I put in, and energy that I pump into these videos. So if you could please subscribe, share, like and comment, I would appreciate it a lot. I'm not going to stop doing it, but it's a lot different content that I would like to be putting out. There's a lot of things I would like to be doing, but like I say, it's just not, at the moment, it's just not worth my time in dedicating into doing it if there's not really anybody listening. Because I don't know how many of you know like about the YouTube analytics, but it tells you how long people are watching videos for, or if they're skipping through the videos. So, you know, I could make like an hour-long video and people are only watching the first 11 minutes of it, things like this. It's just not worth it, guys. So please, help me, help the channel grow, because I want to do a lot of things to help you without sounding egotistical. But there's lots of things that I could be sharing that I'm not, and I want to. So please help me, guys. Okay? I love you all. I'm going to end it there. I'm probably not even going to edit this one. I'll just let it go out as it is. Love you all deeply. Now, please do remember, stay calm. Makes a difference. Be kind to everybody in your life, because we all just want that, really. Love each other. If you've got somebody important and special to you in your life, give them a big hug from me. We all need that contact. And I hope I get some good responses from this, and I'll see you all soon. Okay, I'm going to carry on with the book reading, don't worry. I'm working on, if anybody's watching this is listening to my book, The Divine Pymander, I'm on the process of doing that next, okay? That's going to be up really soon. It's just the editing time that's delaying them coming out frequently, okay? Okay, I'll stop it there. Love you all. Love you, Soul Tribe. Now remember, part of all this as well is be the frequency that you want to receive. So treat other people how you want to be treated, basically. Simple as. Okay? Love you all. See you soon. Bye-bye.